Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's just dive right into it. If you think you know what the underworld looks like, well, prepare to be completely surprised. We're going on a deeply mesmerizing journey into Hindu cosmology to completely dismantle that simplistic good versus evil binary we're all so used to. Today we're exploring a vast, intricate universe that challenges absolutely everything we've been taught about demons, monsters, and the afterlife.
Think about this for a second. What if the realms of hell aren't just pits of eternal fire, but profound metaphors for your own mind? In these ancient texts, the depths of the cosmos aren't simply literal places of punishment. Actually, they're highly structured realms representing deeply ingrained psychological states, intricate social structures, and powerful forces of nature. We're going to journey down through the subterranean layers of the earth and then across to the realm of karmic justice to see exactly what they can teach us about our own minds.
All right, Section 1, Beyond Demons and Monsters. So it's time to unlearn what we think we know. According to ancient texts like the Rig Veda and the Shatapatha Brahmana, asuras aren't these purely evil monsters of your nightmares. They're actually incredibly powerful entities that just deviate from the divine order. It's crazy, but in the oldest texts, even prominent gods like Indra were sometimes called asura. The word literally just meant a powerful or divine entity. You see, while sura means harmony or melody, asura implies dissonance. They're beings that simply operate on a totally different frequency than the established celestial norms. Some were even great, highly respected scholars of Sanatana Dharma, the eternal spiritual order.
And the sheer variety here is mind-blowing. We're talking about highly advanced interdimensional evolution, not just a generic horde of villains. Take the Danavas, for instance. They were literal master architects who commanded Maya, or illusion. Then you have the Daityas, born of Diti, who were incredibly morally complex. King Bali was a Daitya, but he ruled with unbelievable righteousness and devotion. And the Rakshasas? Texts describe them as engineered hybrids with regenerative powers and superhuman traits. Even Ravana, the famous Rakshasa, wasn't just a brute, he was a brilliant scholar and a master musician. Hindu cosmology doesn't just demonize entire races, it shows that virtue and vice exist in absolutely everyone.
Moving deeper, we hit Section 2, Mahatala, a realm of luxury and fear.
Picture the most breathtaking luxury imaginable. This is the fifth nether realm, home to the Kadravya Nagas. They live in these winding fortresses of flesh, completely lit up by eerie, glowing gems. And these aren't your garden variety snakes. We're talking multi-headed serpent monarchs endowed with unfathomable strength, living in immense subterranean opulence. Think serpent queens draped in silver thread, endless music, grand feasts. On the surface, it looks like an absolute paradise hidden deep underground.
But here's the catch, and it's a huge one. There is this striking juxtaposition between all that glittering wealth and a paralyzing, inescapable terror. No matter how deep they dig, these Nagas are constantly haunted by the shadow of their natural predator, the divine eagle Garuda. They're constantly looking up, terrified the stone above them is going to crack open. So what do? They frantically indulge in pleasure and intoxication just to drown out that impending doom, but the panic is literally always there.
It's like that saying, you may paint over anxiety with gold, but it will still slither beneath. Mahatala is just a flawless mirror for our own human tendency to cover up our deepest anxieties with material wealth and artificial comforts, right? It shows us that if fear is still ruling your inner sky, you're not a king, you're just a beautifully decorated prisoner. Until you actually face your fears instead of burying them under luxury, Mahatala is basically your psychological home.
Let's plunge further down into Section 3, Rasatala, the Untamed Depths.
Welcome to the sixth lower world. This is a dark, enigmatic, and warlike realm of raw grandeur. Beings here are relentlessly pursuing power, dark arts, and hidden knowledge. Rasatala is vast, it's largely unexplored, and since sunlight literally can't reach it, it's illuminated entirely by magical glowing crystals. Down here, the Daityas and Danavas guard incredible, otherworldly treasures. There's even a legendary river of nectar that grants prolonged life, fiercely guarded by giant serpents and multi-headed mystical beasts. It's intense.
But these ancient libraries of mystic arts and hidden treasures, they aren't just hoarding knowledge. They're a powerful metaphor for our own untamed, subconscious primal drives. Rasatala is essentially the dark, powerful engine of our psyche. It's that deeply hidden ambition inside of us that just wants to conquer and understand the unknown, totally devoid of the paralyzing anxiety we saw in the realm just above it.
Now we reach the absolute bottom, Section 4, Patala, Radiant Inner Stillness. At the lowest tier of the living cosmos, the chaos finally yields to this majestic, absolute stillness. Here we meet the true sovereigns of the serpent lineages, guarded by Naga kings like the mighty Vasuki. And their massive coils aren't built to strangle, they're built to support the very fabric of the world with immense patience. They are so incredibly powerful that they literally hold up Bhumi Devi, the earth, steadying it against the chaos of the universe. There's no ambition down here, no conquest, no fear, just completely contained energy and masterful silence.
To put this scale into perspective, think of the number 500,000. That represents the 500,000 hoods of the Naga kings. And here's the really fascinating part. Each hood bears a jewel that physically emits light to illuminate these pitch-black depths. There is no sun here, no stars, but it is the most radiant of all the netherworlds. And that light doesn't reflect, it generates entirely from within. These kings don't need to flex their power, they just exist, and by their very nature, they dispel the darkness.
Psychologically, this is massive. The Naga kings represent the Muladhara, the foundational root chakra at the base of the spine, the coiled potential of Kundalini energy waiting in perfect stillness. It represents the ultimate inner stillness within all of us, a wisdom that just watches and protects without needing to interrupt the chaotic world above. It's a beautiful lesson, really. You can sit at the absolute bottom of the world and still shine brighter than the stars above, simply through mastered awareness. All right, shifting gears. Section 5, Naraka, the karmic purgatory. We're officially leaving the living realms and crossing over into the afterlife. So this realm runs on highly organized mechanics. When a soul passes, it gets brought to Yama, the god of death, and the Dharma Raja, the king of righteousness, located in the cosmic south. Based on some incredibly meticulous records kept by his scribe, you're assigned to one of 28 distinct, highly specific hells. It's very tailored. Like if you were a thief, you'd go to Tamisra, a realm of total darkness. Cruel to animals, you face Kumdipaka. The punishment precisely, and I mean precisely, mirrors the earthly transgression. Now here is a massive plot twist, especially if you're coming from a Western perspective. In many traditions, hell is an eternal dead end, fixed destiny, infinite punishment. But Naraka, it's fundamentally different. This eternal loop shows us that Naraka is actually a temporary, highly educational karmic purgatory. The suffering isn't infinite, it's a proportional retribution aimed at karmic balancing. The ultimate goal here isn't endless torture, it's purification.
You can clearly see how it works in the cycle of samsara. You accumulate karma on earth, you undergo judgment by Yama, and you serve that proportional temporary purification. And then, you reincarnate. Once a soul's karmic debt is settled in Naraka, it gets a fresh slate. It returns to the cycle to continue its spiritual evolution, maybe this time aiming for moksha or ultimate liberation, to break the cycle entirely. It's a beautifully balanced system of cosmic justice.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this thought. These ancient texts weren't just writing fantasy stories about subterranean monsters and boiling cauldrons. They were literally mapping the human condition. They understood our fears, our primal drives, our potential for profound stillness, and our deep need for universal justice. So, ask yourself, Mahatala's anxiety, Rasatala's raw power, Patatala's absolute stillness, or Naraka's justice? Which of these inner realms is ruling your mind right now? Thanks so much for joining me on this journey, and keep exploring.